So I'm here to talk about how to close the gap between business intelligence and operations. Since you all came to a data summit, I'm pretty sure that you all understand that the data is the new oil, as we saw, that the data is only good things, that all companies should use data. But the fact is that some companies fail to go down that path. And I'm exactly going to share my experience with you so that in case you are starting this journey, you don't make some classical mistakes that some companies do, okay? I do look young, but I'm actually not that young, so I've been working with data analytics for many, many years. So hopefully I will be able to bring some added value to you, okay? I work for Opel. In case there is someone from UK, I work for Vauxhall. We have two different names, we like to be different. And I was a bit surprised that I'm the only one from the automotive industry here, but I can promise you one thing. The automotive industry is one of the biggest changing industries in our times. To prove that I'm not that young, I'm still the times that the cars were a complete metal sheet and you had to bring your own radio, a 5 kilos radio that you had to bring, plug it in the car. Sometimes it would not work because the connections were not properly set up, but I'm one of those that had to do that. And nowadays, look at our cars. You have fully integrated dashboards. The cars have more than 10,000 sensors that communicate internally with each other to prevent something bad from happening or to give an alert that something is not working well with the car so that you can get it fixed before you have an accident. Some brands like Opel, we also have OnStar that we can in real time collect data from your vehicle and say, hey, something is not going right, so please go to a dealer to get it fixed. It's really changing, and lately you have been hearing a lot about autonomous vehicles. So no longer that metal sheet with a steering wheel and a gearbox. Now we're talking about fully automated cars that will just drive you, and you don't even have to bother to do anything. So it's an industry that is really changing. And I was hoping the slides would be working by now. Okay, so continue. As I was saying, sometimes companies fail, and why do they fail to go down this path? Because there is a gap between business intelligence and operations. And if the company does not see you as added value, if operations cannot communicate with you, and at the end of the day, you will just be extra cost for the company, if the CEO has to choose between operations and BI, you will stick with operations and BI is out, right? And that's the biggest challenge here. Some of the companies fail to bring out the added value of BI, and therefore the CEO says, sorry, then I don't need you guys. You are just a burden in my budget, so I'll find someone else or even give up. Ah, there you go. Very good. So hopefully you will see now the slides. Fantastic. And now to go forward? No worries. And how do I go forward and backward? Because it seems not to be working. I can just do it on a laptop, no worries. I'll do it on a laptop, no worries. Oh, there you go. Now it was working. You did it. Oh, that was okay. Sorry. There you go. Okay, so this is where I was. If you choose, for those who are Star Wars fan, as I am, you can choose the dark side of the Force or the light side of the Force. If you choose the dark side, typically you end up losing, and this is exactly what happens. So as I was saying, if the company does not see you as added value, the outcome is you're out. If the company does see you as added value, then most likely you can even win the award of the Employee of the Year, okay? So hopefully you now don't want to follow the dark side, so let's try to identify the root causes that can lead to the fact that there can be a gap that will make you not be as of added value as people wish. So I'm pretty sure that you all saw the presentation from our Teradata gentleman, and the reality is that many, many years ago, the business itself was doing data analytics. They were using Excel with 64,000 rows limitation, but they got things done, right? Business themselves doing data analytics. Then big data showed up. Then we need to connect to many data sources. Then we need to have one-to-many connections, so Excel doesn't work anymore, and we had to move to more sophisticated tools and to hire people with different set of skills. And I'm an engineer, so I can say this bluntly. Well, we engineers sometimes don't speak the same language as business, right? If you go buy an Opel car and you say, hey, Ricardo, I would like to have an economic engine, if I'm an engineer, I'm going to tell, yeah, but what is your average speed? What is the average air pressure you're going to drive? What is your behavior? And do you want with a high torque or low torque? Do you want with a high binary or low binary? Where do you want to reach the maximum efficiency in terms of RPMs? And you're going to tell me, Ricardo, what? I don't understand any of that. But if you talk with someone that is in the middle and says, okay, do you mostly do motor drive or city drive? City drive. Do you usually go to the mountains? No, I live in Portugal. I think it's pretty much flat. So I can tell you, you should go for a 1.2 liters engine. Total different speech, right? And this happens. It happened to me in front of me that I had an amazing statistician person explaining what she did to a gentleman that has 30 years of experience dealing with warranty in cars. And she started talking about R-squares and random forests and time series analysis. And the other gentleman from the business who just by smelling the car, he knows that I have a problem in the battery, was like, why do I need to do all that? I know that I have a problem in the battery. Why do I need to analyze terabytes of data to tell me something that I just by the smell I know, right? And that's the gap. And of course, we all love people with a lot of experience, and just by the smell, they can figure that out. But if his nose stops working, or if he leaves the company, then we need someone else to do that, right? So we cannot rely on intuition anymore. And that's where it's very important that you bring someone that is called an architect or a translator, which I will talk slightly later on. But I want you already to have this concept that due to highly different expertises, we need something in the middle, okay? Also, please, don't live on your own world. Relationships are the most important thing for the success of teams, okay? If you're not willing to build a relationship, people will not trust you. If people don't trust you, they will not approach you to say, hey, can you solve this problem for me, okay? And this is where, again, we see a big change. IT typically operates this way, right? IT sometimes is in a different building, sometimes in a different country, even sometimes in a different region, and things still get done. But for data analytics, it's different. You cannot be far away from the business. They need to see you. They need to see how you play with the data. So this is something that we also need to change. We need to be quite close and integrated with the operations. Okay? And sometimes we have to compromise. I mean, the business will ask for miracles. We all love miracles, but sometimes we can't reach those miracles. But it's also important that from the very beginning, you just don't say no just because it's a lot of work. I've seen that happening. Someone from business asked, can you do this for me? And the other person said, nope. And I was in the middle, and I said, yes, you can, because you have this data. And the other gentleman was, yeah, you know, I can, but it's a lot of work. I mean, I'm sorry, but new challenges will be a lot of work. And the hardest the work, the biggest the gain, right? Hopefully. Good. So now that we know that they are root causes of our problems, then let's try to fix them, right? A key component here is really the architect or translator. I highly advise you, if you are moving to a pure data-driven company, that you have data scientists, that you have statistical experts, that you have artificial intelligence experts, you really need someone in the middle, okay? The best example I can give for you is that if you're building your own house, and you say that I want to have this kind of lamps, I want to have this kind of walls, I want to have a fountain in my living room for whatever reason, you are not going to discuss what type of electrical cables you need to have, what type of electrical board you need to have, what type of tubes. No one discusses that. If it's plastic, metal, you don't care, right? You talk to an architect, and then the architect will talk to whoever has to talk to figure that out. But it's really important that you have this middle component that will translate the business requirements to whatever has to happen behind the scenes. Also, and here I'm going to read the slide because I think this is really, really important, you need to be part of the operations team. And when I'm saying this, I don't say from an organizational point of view that you need to be within operations. That's another story. But you really need to understand that their problems is your opportunities. If you fix their problems, they will love you. And if they love you, they will give you more and more work, and they'll be the first ones to promote you. The best marketing one can ever have is someone else telling good things about you, right? And this is the thing. Fix their problems. They will love you for that. Their frustration is your motivation. If you see the more frustrated we are with a certain process and you can fix that, again, the bigger the gain. They will say, it took me 1 month to put all these reports together and to do this, this, and this. If you can do that for him in 1 day, he will buy you lunch many times a year because you really saved his time, right? And he can spend time doing his technical business knowledge, not that data crunching. And also, their wishes are your goals, right? Business will have wishes. That's how they live. They always say they want more and more and more, and you have to set up that as your target goal, okay? But also, sometimes you need to discuss because their wishes could be really extravaganza, and then, well, they need to understand that there are some limits. Now, this is the typical consulting side. So if any of here works for the big 4 consulting companies, they usually show this kind of things because they like to put everything in nice pictures that tells many things in one go. And I'm following their approach. On the left side, and this was also touched by the gentleman from Teradata, is how a BI team, if you want to have a successful and strong BI team, how it should be built, right? So your BI team needs to be creative, exactly like the gentleman from Teradata said. And I didn't change my presentation after his. I already had this here. So it is true, you need to be creative. You need to come up with unique ideas to solve problems because you are leading innovation. So you're going to face challenges that no one else ever faced, so you need to be creative, right? Also, you need to have your technical skills. It's granted. I cannot have a BI team anymore that does not know mathematics, that does not know statistics, that does not know how to program. It's a core competency, right? But you also need to know the business. And I'm not saying that we'll ever be business experts. It's impossible for a BI person to know as much as someone that repaired cars for 30 years. You will not. But if you understand the concepts, the basics, it will help you to do better analytics, okay? I can give you a clear example. We were building a model for manufacturing, right? We didn't know about the business. That was a mistake we made. And the first chart we did around quality within the plant, we showed a number that was impossible. And the business looked at us and said, that's impossible because my metric is between 0 and 100 and you are showing me 300. That cannot happen. And immediately our credibility was put in question because they said, you guys are just crunching data. You don't come here to understand what we do. You don't even know how we build cars, and you are trying to build a data model to explain if we should build cars better. So this creates a barrier. So my suggestion to you is try to learn a little bit about the business. Okay? Again, you don't have to be experts. If you become experts, even better, but understand the fundamentals so that it will help you to make sure that you don't do classical mistakes in your data mining or data analysis. And if you have all this in your team, typically say that your team has an analytical mindset capability, which is where we want to be, right? We also need to question ourselves. The first quality assessment has to be internal. Before you ever give a deliverable to the business, the first quality assessment is internal, and you need to have an analytical mindset that will challenge if what I just did makes sense or not, if it's of added value, yes or no. Because if you answer no to these questions, you cannot show that to the business ever, okay? Good. So if your BI team is properly set up with an analytical mindset, then the second question is, okay, I have my BI team, but what about my ecosystem around my BI team? And that's the second one. So the second one highlights the importance of the analytics leadership translator as the key component to link everything that is around the BI team. So the BI team will be the advanced analytics, right? Then you have the business experts or subject matter experts, and then you have IT, because we also need IT. But to connect all these words nowadays, you need this type of translator. It can be your chief data officer from the very top, but typically I would recommend that if someone slightly below that can know more technical things than the chief data officer. But it is a combination of the chief data officer or whoever represents that position in your companies and a slightly below person that can do this link. Okay? You can ask me questions at any time if you wish, or say by the end through Goran. Good. Now, sharing with you some of my experiences, so hopefully that you don't make some mistakes I did. We are all human, we do make mistakes. Mark Zuckerberg just admitted on Facebook that they also make mistakes, and Facebook is one of the most famous platforms. So The important thing is that we learn with our mistakes, and the important thing as a society that we share our mistakes with you, because I don't want you to make the same mistakes as I did. I want you to be better than I am, so please don't do wrong things I did. So the first thing is, please make sure that whatever projects you have a clear business leadership support. Okay? Sometimes we face challenges like, if I'm automating something that this gentleman is doing that takes 1 week and now we can do it in 1 hour, he will be afraid that of his job. You might start asking yourself, wow, if a robot can do what I do, that means I might get fired. So he will not support you. But if his boss supports you saying, no, this is the path I want to go, and then he will do something else that I already have in mind for him, then you have his support as well. And I've seen some projects failing because we started very low, which we thought it was a good idea, and then when we went to leadership said, no, that's not aligned with my strategy, so you just wasted 2 weeks of your work because I will not do this anymore. So it's very, very important that business leadership is attached to your project. Okay? Second one, and this is very close to my heart, because I made this mistake several times, unfortunately. We all want to build big machines, right? We all always think that big machines answer everything. And in some way it's true, but the problem is not just the development of that machine, which can take months or years, it's also the maintenance. Okay? We built this amazing manufacturing model that was tracking 50 plants across 57 KPIs, really cool model. The problem is that to maintain that model requires 2 people, at least, to maintain that model. And the business said, okay, it's really cool, but I don't have 2 people to be maintaining this model every month because we need this data live, we need to combine 50-something data sources. It's not sustainable. And although it was a great idea and all the proof of concept was everyone loved it, everything went down the drain because we didn't have enough resources to maintain it. So please make sure that you take that into consideration when you're building models, okay? Also, from the very beginning, try to automate things as much as you can. Don't save it for later, because later you might not have enough time, later you might already be in another project. So it's very important from the very beginning that you leave room for automation, okay? And I will skip some of these because for the sake of time. I will also say that please document your work. Okay, no one likes black boxes. I see this so often that someone leaves the company, someone is sick, someone is on vacation, and someone asks, oh, can you run this model for me? And people are like, well, kind of no, because I have no idea how this works. And this looks bad, right? We are a team, right? So we should be able to replace each other if needed. So please document things. Data analysts are not very good in documenting. We are not made for that. But it's something we need to adapt, right? And so please document. And always say, I don't want a 50-page documentation. No one has time to read 50 pages. Forget it. I don't have time for that. Just build a couple of slides saying, hey, these are the data inputs. This is what you need to put. This is the layout. And this is the buttons you need to press. And I'm happy with that. Okay, but it's very important that people understand how these black boxes work so that they don't think we are just doing magic or voodoo or something, and that they really know that what's going on behind the scenes. Okay. Another thing is that I'm a big fan of building relationships, even after the project is done. Okay, and I highly recommend you don't just disappear. I know that a lot of us like to tick mark, okay, project done, I'm done, bye-bye, you will never see me again. Don't do that, because if you really did a great job, those people that have now the model you built are your biggest fans, and if you keep in touch with them, they could be the ones giving you more and more projects or more and more visibility. So don't just disappear. Be present. Go for lunch with them. Go for a coffee with them. Talk. Sometimes this talking is important because you will understand more of their problems, more of the business innovations, and then you can plug in your expertise and say, oh, so now we are going down an autonomous vehicle path. Maybe I have some skills in artificial intelligence, maybe I can help you out here. Okay? And they like that. They see that you care. They see that you are involved. Sharing again my experience with you, it happened once in one of our biggest projects about complexity. We have, again, a big team. We have business, we have IT, we have data scientists. And on these meetings, IT came and said, well, guys, can we be the first ones to present because we want to leave and then you can discuss whatever you want? And the moment they said that, the project manager went to the meeting invites and canceled IT Why? Because he said, you guys don't care about us. If you just want to be the first ones to present and then leave, you're not part of the team anymore. So don't have that mindset. Really embrace the team as one and help them, and they will help you. Share your knowledge with them, they will share your knowledge with you, and at the end of the day, the company itself will only benefit from that. And that's it.